Captain Elias Harper had seen a lot in his 38 years of space travel, but nothing prepared him for Lyra. She wasn't like any alien he'd encountered, not in appearance, not in demeanor, not in the overwhelming aura of intelligence and emotion she radiated. He first met her on the edge of the Zephyria Nebula, a sector known for its volatile energy storms and abandoned research outposts. He had been investigating an old distress signal from a missing research crew when his ship's sensors picked up an unusual energy signature. Following the readings, he discovered a sleek vessel, its hull scorched and battered, drifting silently in the void. Docking carefully, he stepped inside, expecting to find an empty ship or, at most, the remnants of a crew long gone. Instead, he found her, Lyra, the alien woman who would change everything. She was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, reflecting light like liquid metal, and her eyes were a deep violet, almost luminescent, that seemed to pierce straight through him. She moved with an elegance that was both alien and familiar, her long fingers brushing the walls as if she could sense the structure of the ship. Elias was captivated instantly, though he tried to keep his professional composure. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice melodic, each word vibrating subtly with a resonance that made his chest feel tight. I was stranded. You saved me." "I didn't find you," Elias replied, careful not to let his awe show. "I followed a distress signal. You were lucky I did." Lyra's gaze softened, but there was a spark in her eyes that told him she didn't see it as luck. She saw it as fate. Over the following days, Elias repaired her ship while keeping her company. Lyra was curious about everything: Earth, humans, the strange habits of species across the galaxy. She asked questions about love, about family, about loyalty. She listened intently as he spoke of his home planet, his childhood, his journeys through uncharted systems. And slowly, what began as a bond of necessity became something more profound. Lyra laughed at his jokes, though her sense of humor was subtle, a delicate shift in her violet eyes. She shared stories of her people, the Elysians, a race renowned for their wisdom and empathy. But even as she told these tales, Elias noticed a vulnerability beneath her grace, a longing for connection that mirrored his own loneliness in the endless void. One evening, while they were charting a course through the nebula, Lyra turned to him, her expression unusually serious. "Elias," she said softly, "I have felt something I cannot name, something that binds me to you beyond reason or logic." He swallowed, unsure how to respond. "You mean friendship?" Lyra shook her head, and her voice dropped to a whisper. "No, it is stronger. I think I am in love with you." Elias felt a surge of emotion so intense it left him speechless. He had known humans could form bonds with alien species, but he had never imagined one as profound as this. The sincerity in her eyes, the almost tangible pull of her presence, made it impossible to deny. I think I might feel the same," he admitted, his voice rough. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Lyra's lips curved into a smile that was at once radiant and serene. But then she did something that startled him even more. She reached for his hand, entwining her long, graceful fingers with his. Then, "Elias Harper, will you marry me?" The words hung in the air like a star suspended in a black sky. Elias blinked. "Marry you?" "Lyra, we've known each other days. Not even weeks." Lyra's violet eyes softened, shimmering with an emotion he couldn't name. "Time is measured differently for my people," she said gently. "What I feel, it cannot be confined by your human calendars. I know you. I trust you. I love you. And I wish to spend my life with you." It was audacious, terrifying, and beautiful. Elias laughed nervously, shaking his head. I don't even know the customs of your people. How could this even work? She leaned closer, resting her forehead against his. We will learn together. I will teach you what it means to be Elysians, and you will teach me what it means to be human. Our differences will not separate us. They will strengthen us. Elias's heart raced. He had spent years traveling the galaxy, confronting hostile forces, surviving cosmic anomalies, and now, faced with an offer of love so raw and honest, he felt more alive than ever. Yes, he whispered finally. I will marry you, Lyra. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. They shared stories, traditions, and secrets of their respective worlds. Lyra introduced him to her people via holographic transmission, who welcomed him with cautious curiosity, eventually warming to the human who had captured her heart. Elias taught Lyra about Earth, about music, poetry, and the chaos of human emotions. The ceremony itself was a melding of both worlds. On board his repaired ship, surrounded by the stars that had witnessed their journey from strangers to soulmates, Elias and Lyra exchanged vows. She shimmered in her ceremonial attire, a flowing gown that refracted light across the ship's metallic walls, while he wore the simple uniform of a starship captain. Their hands clasped, eyes locked, and in that moment, the void around them seemed to glow with warmth. I promise to honor and protect you, Elias said, his voice steady. And I promise to cherish and trust you, Lyra replied, her tone ringing with conviction. As they sealed their vows with a touch, a sudden burst of cosmic energy from a nearby nebula lit the ship in brilliant colors. The universe seemed to celebrate with them, painting the void in streaks of violet, gold, and sapphire. Later, as they floated together in the observation deck, Elias looked at Lyra, marveling at the improbable path that had led them here. You fell for a human, he said, a smile tugging at his lips. And I would fall for you again, she replied softly, leaning into him. Over and over, in every universe, in every lifetime. Elias held her close, feeling a warmth that no star could match. Against the infinite black of space, two hearts from different worlds had found each other, and in that bond, they discovered a love that transcended species, logic, and the vast distances of the cosmos. It was the beginning of a new chapter, not just for them, but for the idea that humanity, in all its imperfection and courage, could touch the stars in ways the galaxy had never imagined. And somewhere in the depths of the nebula, the universe seemed to whisper its approval, as if even the cosmos knew that some love was meant to be bold, defiant, and everlasting. Word count, 994. If you want, I can also create a version with extra dialogue and slow build tension that stretches even closer to 1,000 plus words, which is perfect for a 10-plus minute video narration. It would have more cinematic beats and emotional pauses for storytelling. Do you want me to do that next? As they floated together in the observation deck, gazing out at the swirling colors of the nebula, Elias held Lyra close. The silence between them was comfortable, filled with the quiet hum of the ship and the infinite expanse of stars beyond. You fell for a human, he said, a soft smile playing on his lips. Lyra's violet eyes glimmered. And I would fall for you again in every universe, in every lifetime. Elias laughed softly, the sound full of awe and disbelief. I never imagined this ever. Neither did I, Lyra admitted. But sometimes, the universe surprises us in ways we could never plan for. They shared a long, lingering kiss, a promise that spanned species, worlds, and galaxies. In that moment, the boundaries of human and Elysian, of starship and nebula, melted away. All that remained was the connection between them, unshakable, fearless and true. The stars outside seemed to sparkle a little brighter, as if celebrating their union. For the first time, Elias didn't feel like just a traveler of the cosmos. He was a part of something greater, a shared journey, a love story that defied logic and embraced wonder. Lyra rested her head on his shoulder, whispering, "No matter what comes, we face it together." Elias smiled, heart full, knowing she was right. In a universe vast and unpredictable, they had found certainty in each other. And with that, their new life began. Hand in hand, human and Elysian, bound by love that the stars themselves seemed to honor. The cosmos was infinite, and so their love would be, too. If you want, I can also craft an even more cinematic final scene version with an extra emotional beat and visual cues perfect for a 10-plus minute narration, so the ending really lingers with the audience. Do you want me to do that?